Hey guys, how's it going? May the 4th be with you. We are celebrating this time around. I always missed it every other year because I just wasn't paying attention. I would do my recordings in advance, and on the day of, I'm like, oh, I forgot to put a video out for May 4th because I'm a huge Star Wars fan. You guys have probably seen me wear my R2-D2 shirt on the channel multiple times throughout the years. I've also got an X-Wing, a giant X-Wing up here that I just can't grab down. It's surrounded by stuff. A couple of Star Wars things around, as much as I could fit at the time anyway. Today we are going to be checking out two different songs, two of my favorites from the Star Wars universe in general. There's been a few more that have been added, but I don't want to make the video too long, so I'm just picking two out. We're going to be starting with John Williams and the Vienna Philharmonic playing the Imperial March. It's always been a favorite. And after that, we will be going to I think it's a Danish orchestra. It's done like on TV. It's like a TV Danish orchestra thing going on. I'm not quite sure. It doesn't even mention who the conductor is in the info. But it's going to be the Cantina song. I wished I could have found like a version where John Williams was doing this, but that's okay. So I've actually never checked out any Star Wars music done live before, ever. It's it's funny. I've listened to the songs like on Spotify, but never like watched a live performance or heard a live performance. So it's gonna be cool. It's gonna be cool. This won't be my first time either. Like I have seen a lot of classical music performed live. So it's not new to me, the setting either. I had a lot of friends that went to university level for classical music and studies. So this isn't new to me. I know, not orchestra to this degree. I've never seen one this size, because this is like a full orchestra setup that we're going to be talking here. Most of the time, it was more like 15 people. It's university students, right? They didn't have 50 students at this university to play together with, unfortunately. So let's jump in first with Imperial March. This is John Williams and the Vienna Philharmonic. It's a little unorthodox for a crowd to start clapping. In a traditional setting of going to see classical music of any kind, because when it comes down to it, it's a full orchestra. Mostly, usually, even though it's Star Wars, it fits under a classical music style just because it's a full orchestra. Clapping during the performance is usually frowned upon. Making any noise is usually frowned upon. You usually wait till the end before you do like any clapping. Sorry, my nose is itchy as can be. It's been dry lately around here, and I'm trying not to itch my nose constantly, but I can't help it. Doesn't matter how much I itch, it's dry. So it's a little weird to see them clap right off the bat. So hopefully they will keep it down to a minimum. Hopefully they won't clap throughout the whole performance. It's a lovely, lovely, lovely build-up choice that he chose to do there, and I always loved it when it built up to that and then just goes to silence. It's really cool getting to see him perform it as well. I don't know a whole lot about conducting, like the whole. I know what his job is up there, but I don't know. I couldn't explain to you like what movements mean what while he's up there. I have no idea about any of that. I've never really asked, I guess, because none of my friends did that. They were always the performers on stage with having someone else, like a teacher conducting or a guest conductor of some kind, depending on the project a lot of times. So I never really actually had the chance to. I just never thought to ask, what the certain movements and all that are. yeah, it's always just a beautiful build up to hear that build up, and then he just brings it right back down to silence, and it's just I love that. It's always stood out to me. Oh man, the horns, man. Slow build up. More, still building. Okay, just before we get into ending part, that's 2:45. So I want to bring it back quite a ways here. Okay, right after we get by this part here, it comes into the main like build up that builds up, and usually, I'm assuming if everyone's like me, you hear the brass really take over here over top of the string section. The string section is more of like a rhythm that goes along in the background. But have you ever actually just like really listened to just the strings and what they're doing here? Because they're also doing something beautiful. I've heard it a little bit before, but really seeing it performed live here and like really like analyzing the song more than I ever have. It's really beautiful, like the arrangement of strings behind it. As the brass is building up, they're just keeping the same rhythm, and you're going to hear it here in a sec. It's right after this part. Right here. You're going to start hearing it in a sec here. So the strings are still doing the same thing they were doing before. The brass continues to like they're keeping that main rhythm of the song in the background, and I've kind of noticed it in the past, but it's never really stood out until this time. I guess because I'm watching them perform it, and I'm really trying to listen to all the key elements in the background. I've never really noticed that, and maybe you haven't either. So I wanted to point that out, to maybe just listen to that part instead of just because that brass is quite overpowering, and that's on purpose. That's what he wanted to stand out the most and really have them build up and hit you with that sound from the horn section. A lot of the horn, it's all brass, but I find like the horn stands out a little bit more for me. But so you could really hear it. But then moving forward, there was another part here as well. I think it was that section. beautiful. All right. I wanted to let the claps go through there. I was going to definitely let that finish out. So yeah, that was John Williams at the Vienna Philharmonic. The ending is so epic. The build-up and then the quick run on the string section before it goes back into the finishing build-up and the climax, and then boom, done. Very well done. Very well done. John Williams is just a master of that. Let's get into the Cantina band track. This is by the Danish National Symphony Orchestra, orchestrated by... doesn't say, unfortunately. Oh, wait. It's two choirs here as well, which I do want to get here. I can't read it though. It's not in English, so I won't try. The two choirs, Hymnia and Karmarata. Okay, no, sorry, wrong thing. And various soloists, and it's conducted by Anthony Hermes. So let's get into that one next. I've already advanced the video a little bit because it seems it was on TV. Because obviously I wanted to just test the beginning, so it was some guy talking at the start, so I just advanced it right to the beginning. Let's jump in. Man, like, okay, first of all, the clapping's kind of getting overpowering it a little bit. It would have been cool live, but again, it's kind of like an orchestra setting. It's not usual to see that when you go see an orchestra live. You don't really... If you go to see, like, actual classical music played, don't do that. It is actually... It's... We won't say it's illegal, but it's super frowned upon. But I guess it's Star Wars. I can understand here. But go back and listen. I'm not even sure what instrument plays this part. It's like the little, like, tin sound. And listen to how, like... Almost it sounds like so offbeat and so like broad. It's just cool timing for it. Listen. I should know what does that sound, but I don't off the top of my head. Oh, there we go. Okay, yeah. It's a bunch of like, it's kind of like cymbals, but not really. That would be done by your percussionist, because percussionists play so many different instruments. Probably the most out of anybody in an orchestra. Like you can see, like there's more than one percussionist here. They have like 3 or 4 for this performance. As you can see, there's a drummer counts. Then you have guys who have like cymbal setups like you see on screen now. You can see he has extra toms around him as well. He's got the windpipes, which would also go to percussionists. They don't even have everything that they could possibly use here. And that's a lot of like different instruments for like actually hitting them as well. They have hammers, brushes, sticks of different kinds. You can see he has like these little tiny sticks over here on the side. I can't see my cursor, but him on the left here. I'm not sure what they're called, but specifically, but yeah, it's crazy setup. I'm enjoying this one. This one is just more like a favorite of mine for like how like kind of funny it is, and just enjoyable and uplifting it is. or Hawaiian theme. Okay, before he gets into his solo, because you obviously wouldn't normally get to that in the movie, but obviously, maybe it does. Maybe it does in the background, but it only plays like the main part loudly, and then it gets into what? It gets into a few of them talking after that, right? So then it kind of like lowers the music a little bit, and you don't really pay attention to it as much. So maybe it gets that far in there, and I just didn't pay attention in the movie because obviously you start paying attention to the dialogue and all that. Very like I said, kind of like Hawaiian. It almost has like I guess Hawaiian theme is the closest thing I can say. I could be wrong with my cultures there, and I apologize. I'm doing my best on trying to fit that sound and kind of what it sounds like to me. And it's just crazy. It's a crazy track when you're listening to it. It's all over the place. Almost what I use the word proggy a lot just because it's very there in my vocabulary and the type of music I enjoy. But then when I'm talking about like orchestras and stuff like that, which obviously they don't even need the full orchestra here because the song itself, like it's like a Cantina band, right? So they don't even need the full orchestra. They obviously, a bunch of them get to take a break at this section. Heavy on the percussionists, as you can hear there, and they really have like some decently complex stuff to play. Obviously they practice a ton and they're amazing musicians, so that's probably, it looks like almost like it's like fun for them to play this track, which is super cool. I'm really enjoying it. There's nothing like a saxophone solo, man. I love saxophone solos so much. Man, there was something I was gonna say, and then he started playing, and he just kept going, and I just forgot because he just sounds so good. He sounded so good here. Really enjoyable. Man, it's just such a catchy song. I don't know. It's definitely one of my favorites. I know one of my I got a lot of new favorites after like The Mandalorian and stuff like that. It might change what my two favorites of all time are. I could probably add in some Mandalorian stuff in there too, because I know that one definitely stood out with a few tracks as well. But man, I'm gonna let this one play to the end, and then we'll talk about it at the end. Everybody gets to play. Beautiful. Beautiful. There you have it. So that was two of my favorite Star Wars songs of all time currently. Hopefully you guys enjoyed seeing something a little bit different. We don't really check out orchestras too often on the channel. I've only checked out maybe a couple before, maybe even just one. And it would have been a long time ago, like before my little hiatus, probably closer to like, the start of the channel a little bit. Hopefully you got to see like a little bit for those of you who aren't familiar with orchestras, get to see like kind of how they work and stuff like that. I only gave like a very simple overview of some of the instruments because it's not my forte. Like I didn't study in this. I just had friends that did, so I learned some stuff. I know in Cantina there, something that did pop up near the end is a xylophone player, which would also be under percussionist, by the way. Had the double stick in each hand. That's something I didn't even knew that was a thing until I started seeing, the percussionist friends from the university playing. I would have never thought about having like 2 in each hand, and you can play 4 sticks on the xylophone. It's not something you see very often, but it's quite common for professional, xylophone players. So hopefully you get to learn a few things about orchestras. Just a few things, just simple things. Like I said, I'm not a professional in that field, but hopefully you got to see a few things and you got to enjoy May the 4th with me today. So May the 4th be with you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, please hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to get notified when I drop new videos. And as always, you guys have a good one, and I'll catch you later.